Hello everyone, and welcome to my Soap Twist 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The afternoon sun poured through the big windows of the Forrester guest house, leaving long golden streaks on the polished hardwood floor. Electra Forrester stood near the kitchen island, her fingertips touching the edge of a coffee mug that had been cold hours before. She'd come straight from the workplace, her mind still racing with the day's chaos, sketches, deadlines, and the constant hum of inspiration that typically anchored her. But now, something felt strange, a quiet tension that had been growing for weeks. While Spencer was in the living room, sprawled on the couch, phone in hand, scrolling absently. When she entered, he looked up and gave her the easy smile that used to make her heart skip. Now it just tightened the knot in her chest. She had entirely trusted him. Will had been her anchor when they first met, even amid the chaos of stalkers and family issues that seemed to swirl about the Forresters and Spencers like a never-ending storm. He was nice and sensitive, the type of guy who remembered minor details like her favorite tea and how she preferred her hair tucked behind her ear when she was worried. They had created something genuine, or so she believed. But now, the small fissures had developed. He claimed to be working late at night, but his justifications lacked substance. Texts were either answered too quickly or not at all. And then there was Dylan. Melissa Dillon had arrived like a stray breeze, down on her luck, homeless and defenseless. Will, being Will, offered the guest house. Electra had initially encouraged it, seeing it as a gesture of sympathy. She had comforted Dylan herself, saying it was real kindness with no strings attached. But boundaries blurred faster than she expected. Dylan lingered too long in his chats with Will. She laughed at his jokes a little too much. Electra saw Dylan's eyes following him as he passed by, as well as the slight changes in posture when he entered a room. She had advised Dylan, politely but forcefully, not to go overboard. "He's mine," she remarked, half joking and half serious. Dylan had nodded and pledged to respect that. Nonetheless, here they were. Electra set the mug down with a quiet clink. "We need to talk," she remarked, her voice more confident than she felt. Will straightened, recognizing the shift. "What's wrong?" She approached and sat on the arm of the couch rather than alongside him. Distance seemed required. "Ivy told me what she saw." His expression paled somewhat. Ivy Forrester, who was always the watcher, had only been in San Francisco for a short time but returned with stories that cut hard. She had looked through the glass to the beach house, Electra's beach house, and noticed Dylan on Will's lap. A tumble while dancing, possibly an accident. Or perhaps not. Ivy's portrayal was vivid. Dylan's arms around his neck, Will's hands around her waist, the moment that stretched too long before they parted ways. Electra had listened in startled silence as Ivy imparted the information, her words delicate but clear. Betrayal did not always require intent. Sometimes proximity and poor judgment were sufficient. Will massaged the back of his neck. "It wasn't what it looked like." She tripped. "We were just..." "Stop." Electra raised her hand. "Don't explain it away. I don't need the details to know how it felt to hear it." He leaned forward, elbows on knees. "Electra, please. Nothing happened. I swear." But something could have. Her voice cracked on the last syllable. "And that's the part that hurts. You let her get that close. After everything we've been through, after I trusted you with my heart, you let someone else into our space like that." Will's gaze tracked hers. "I was trying to be kind. She had nowhere to go. You know that." "I know. And I supported it. But kindness has limits, Will. You didn't set them. You let her cross lines I specifically asked her not to cross, and you didn't push back hard enough." The silence between them was heavy and unsettling. Outside, the faint sound of traffic informed them that the world continued to move forward, unconcerned about their unraveling. Electra thought back to the beginning. Their first true date was a walk down the beach at sunset, where they discussed their dreams and worries. Will had spoken openly about his parents' nasty divorce and how it made him scared of commitment. She had expressed her own insecurities, having grown up in the shadow of the Forrester legacy and often wondering if she matched up. They pledged each other honesty and no games. Yet here they were, playing the oldest game of all, evasion and half-truths. "I love you," Will stated quietly. "I don't want to lose you over a misunderstanding." Electra stared him in the eyes. The boyish charm and earnest eyes. Part of her wanted to believe him, forgive, and go on. But another half, the part that had spent years seeing her family's relationships fall apart due to secrets and betrayals, refused. Brooke and Ridge and Taylor. The never-ending cycles. She did not desire it for herself. "It's not just the lap incident," she explained. "It's everything building up. The late nights, the way you defend her, when I bring up concerns. I feel like I'm competing for your attention in my own relationship." Will was pacing for a few seconds. "Dylan's going through a rough time, and I was trying to help. And what about me? What about us?" Electra stood up, approaching him. "I set boundaries for a reason, to protect what we have. You ignored them." He paused, shoulders sagging. "I didn't think it was a big deal." "That's the problem. You didn't think." Tears welled in her eyes, but she brushed them away. She refused to cry yet. "Not here. I can't do this anymore. I can't keep wondering if the next accident will be something more. I deserve someone who chooses me every time, without hesitation." Will grabbed for her hand, but she drew aside. "Electra, please. Give me a chance to fix this." She shook her head. "I gave chances. I talked to you. I talked to her. Nothing changed. So, I'm choosing myself now." The words hung in the air, definite and irreversible. She felt the weight of them sink in her chest, a mixture of sadness and weird relief. Breaking up wasn't simple, but remaining in doubt was more difficult. Will's face wrinkled. "I never meant to hurt you." "I know," she said quietly. "But you did." She approached the door and paused with her hand on the doorknob. Memories raced back, lazy mornings tangled in blankets, shared laughter over simple things, the way he gazed at her as if she were the only one in the room. Those moments had been true, but reality demanded more. "We're done, Will." He did not follow her as she left. The door closed softly behind her, echoing down the empty corridor. Outside, the air was cold, and the sky had become the beautiful pink of evening. Electra walked to her car, the keys quivering in her hand. She sat inside for a long time, her forehead against the steering wheel, finally allowing tears to fall. They weren't only for Will. They were for the confidence she had placed in him, for the future she had imagined, which had now been broken. As she drove away, the city lights became blurry through tears. She considered phoning her mother, Ivy, or perhaps Steffi, someone who would understand the pain of betrayal in a family where love was often fraught with problems. But for now, she required silence, space to breathe, to mourn what has been lost. The consequences spread quietly over the following days. Whispers at Forrester Creations and anxious looks from colleagues. Will plunged himself into work, avoiding the guest home where Dylan was still staying. The discomfort was evident. Electra immersed herself in designs, turning her pain into creation. She sketched late into the night, her lines strong and forceful, as if drawing could repair what words had broken. Friends reached out. R.J. Forrester gave a shoulder, his mixed sentiments about the issue unstated but palpable. He had his reasons for wanting Will and Electra apart, but he kept them to himself, only being present when she needed to speak. Others speculated. Would she forgive? Would Will fight harder? But Electra had made her decision. She obstructed the way to reconciliation, focused instead on healing. Nights were the most difficult. Lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, she replayed talks, looking for missing cues. Had she been overly controlling? Are you feeling too insecure? Or had she merely observed what was there, a gradual degradation of respect? She didn't know all the answers, but she was certain of one thing. She would not accept anything less than what she deserved. Weeks passed, and a new routine emerged. Electra smiled more sincerely at work, laughed with her relatives, and allowed herself minor pleasures like a walk in the park and coffee with friends. The pain subsided, not gone, but bearable. She thought of Will less frequently, but the recollections lingered like faint scent. One evening, as she sat on her balcony overlooking the city, phone in hand, she noticed a message from him. "I miss you. I'm sorry." She stared at it for quite some time. Then she softly removed it. Betrayal had left a deep and unexpected hurt, but it resulted in clarity. Electra Forrester was stronger than she imagined. She would love again someday, with someone who understood that limits were not optional but necessary. Until then, she would move on, head held high, healing her heart one day at a time. Their separation became another chapter in the never-ending drama of love and tragedy in Los Angeles. But for Electra, it was the start of something new, herself, unbroken and ready for whatever came next. Electra stood by the guest house's tall window, watching the late afternoon light spread across the ocean. The waves appeared quiet, almost deceptively so, and she pondered how something could appear so placid while hiding such a powerful force beneath. It felt strangely familiar. Her reflection in the glass peered back at her, composed on the surface, but shattered beneath. She had spent the entire night repeating every word, look, and half-truth that Will had ever given her, and there was nothing else to ignore. She had not intended on confronting him today. In reality, she had wanted to postpone it, to find a reason to cushion the impact, or to persuade herself that what she had learnt was not true. But betrayal has a way of demanding recognition. When it settles into your chest, it refuses to remain silent. The message that revealed everything remained open on her phone. She did not need to read it again. The words were etched in her memory, each one a subtle indictment. Will lied to her. Not once, not in a moment of weakness, but frequently and deliberately. He had chosen concealment over honesty, convenience above respect, and now the consequences of his decision weighed heavily on her. Despite her resolution, her heart raced as she heard footsteps approaching the door. She did not turn around. She had already recognized him. "Electra?" Will's voice sounded cautious and uncertain, which made her jaw tighten. "You want to see me?" She inhaled gently and steadied herself before turning to face him. He appeared the same as always, handsome, earnest, and almost boyishly eager. That familiar image triggered a stinging sensation in her chest, a reminder of how much she had trusted him. "Yes," she replied evenly. "I did." There was a lull that lasted longer than required. Will appeared to perceive the gravity of the situation, though he probably didn't understand why. He took a step closer before stopping, as if unsure whether he was welcome in her area. "What is going on?" he asked. "You've been distant all day." Electra took a good look at him. She wondered how many times he had looked at her in this way, while hiding the truth. The discovery left her feeling open, almost silly, but she fought to let it show. "I know," she admitted finally. He frowned. "Do you know what?" Her lips pulled together as she reached for her phone and extended it to him. "This." Will's gaze shifted to the television, and the color left his cheeks almost instantaneously. He did not take the phone. He did not need to. The stillness between them became thicker, laden with everything left unsaid. "Electra, I can explain," he responded hurriedly, his voice increasing in alarm. She laughed briefly, and without amusement. "You keep saying that. Explain." "Justify." "Minimize." "Which one were you going to use this time?" "That's not fair," he protested, but his conviction was faint. "You don't comprehend how difficult it is." "Complicated?" Her composure slipped just enough to allow her pain to appear. "Will, you lied to me. You went behind my back. You took life-changing decisions without telling me the truth. What's so complicated about that?" He ran his hand through his hair and took a few steps before returning his gaze to her. "I never intended to hurt you. I was trying to protect you," she said, softly shaking her head. "No. You were attempting to defend yourself." The words were delivered with precision, and she noticed a glimmer of regret in his gaze. That served as sufficient confirmation. "I trusted you," she added, her voice softer but no less forceful. "I defended you. People warned me, and I told them they were wrong." I believed in you even when things didn't make sense, because I believed what we had was true. It was real, he insisted. It is real. Electra took a step back, putting a space between them. If it were real, you wouldn't have betrayed me. The room felt smaller, the walls closing in as they realized the reality. Will opened his mouth as if to argue before closing it again. For the first time, he appeared to grasp that he couldn't get out of this argument by talking. I love you, he stated softly. Wouldn't that count for something? Her eyes hurt, but she refused to shed tears. Love without honesty is not love. It's about control. And I'm not going to be a part of it. He automatically sought for her hand, but she moved away before he could touch her. The refusal left him obviously stunned. Electra, please, he pleaded, desperation in his voice. We can sort this out. Every partnership goes through hard patches. This isn't a rough patch, she said. This is a breach. And once trust is destroyed like this, it does not miraculously mend itself. She went past him, needing space and fresh air. Her pulse hammered as memories rushed her mind, laughing, shared dreams, and whispered promises. Each one now had the sour taste of falsehood. I gave you every chance to be honest with me, she remarked, spinning around to face him. Even now, I would have listened if you had approached me first. But you didn't. I had to figure it out on my own, and that tells me everything I need to know. Will's eyes glistened. I was scared of losing you. And now you have, she responded simply. Her final words seemed to take his breath away. He stood motionless, as if reluctant to believe what was happening. Is that it? He asked. Are you just walking away? She nodded. Yes. He shook his head in astonishment. After what we've gone through? That's exactly why I'm walking away, she replied. Because I know what I deserve, and this isn't it. The silence returned, but this time it felt lighter, almost soothing. Electra felt an unexpected serenity flood over her, as if telling the truth had freed something she'd been holding onto for far too long. I hope you figure out why you did this, she added quietly. Not for me, but for you. Because if you don't, you'll continue to damage those who love you. Will swallowed hard. I never wanted to be the villain in your story. You weren't, she told me. You became one when you chose betrayal over honesty. She retrieved her suitcase from the chair near the door, her motions slow and calm. Every stride felt like reclaiming a part of herself. Where are you going? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Somewhere I can breathe, she explained. Somewhere I don't have to second-guess the person standing next to me. She pushed open the door, the sound reverberating through the quiet room. She hesitated for a time, laying her palm on the frame. Not because she questioned her decision, but because all ends, no matter how necessary, needed to be acknowledged. I did love you, she replied without turning around. That's why it aches. But love shouldn't take away my self-esteem. She then stepped outside, closing the door behind her. As Electra moved away, the sun lowered on the horizon, and the ocean wind brushed against her skin. Her heart ached, but underneath the pain was something stronger. Clarity. She had no idea what would happen next, but she knew it would be based on truth rather than illusion. For the first time since learning of Will's betrayal, she took a quiet, steady breath. The chapter was over, and while the pages ahead were blank, they were now hers to write.